Hello and welcome to the second ever episode of Press A2 Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Hujik, and with me today is Michael Murphy,
Hi.
We have
Brandon Williams,
we have two episodes?
Scott McPherson,
Hey.
and Taylor Severn.
Hello, hello.
So on today's podcast, we will be talking about the Elder Scrolls Skyrim.
I feel
Probably
there should be a number in there.
85.
Probably.
It is the 85th Skyrim game, and the fifth Elder Scrolls game.
Okay.
That didn't make any sense. I think I want to start off with asking, how are you guys? How was your weeks?
Fantastic.
My
Super.
lights
Okay.
don't work. I'm in the
It was-
dark right now.
Are you
I like
I'm in the
serious?
dark too. I'm totally in the dark.
I like how you failed to mention that, or is this a recent development?
This was this weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
I know. It's pretty exciting.
My week is pretty good as well.
I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
I-
one cares.
I know, that's why I had to intrude awkwardly. I want to lead with the second question of what is everyone drinking / what are you drinking?
I have a can of Holstein and Records Red.
Nice.
I am drinking my good old President's Choice water.
Which you pimped last episode very effectively.
Pretty good.
Mike?
I'm drinking Hops and Bolts.
Oh, good choice. Good choice.
Fabulous.
I don't think we're reviewing Banjo-Kazooie till a couple more episodes.
Well played.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move on from that.
Brando, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Jack Daniel's Tennessee Honey.
Ooh.
Are you trying to get wasted or what?
I'm gonna be so messed up at the end of this podcast.
By the end of
That's
the...
how you sound all the time.
Thanks, Mike.
Again, thanks for asking, guys. I'm drinking Metaxa.
What?
You're welcome.
That's like antifreeze, right?
More or less. No, it's a Greek brandy. Well,
I'm pretty
like
sure I put
so-
that shit in
cognac or
the car.
something.
So antifreeze.
It will defrost your car, also run it, and also cures rust. Inside the body and on the car. So I think we can actually move on to talking about the game. So everybody except for Mike has played the game fairly extensively, correct?
Ish.
Yes, one could say.
Yeah, I've probably got a good like 200-300 hours on that game.
Oh. Yeah,
Scott can probably double me.
maybe.
You have 200 or 300 hours, Brandon?
Probably.
Wow. And Scott, you're somewhere around double?
Who knows? I don't know. I have like 5 characters and the minimum level is like 60, so
Oh my god.
whatever that is.
I nerd. Yeah, I've played. I just checked my Steam logs and I've played about 120 hours. So I thought I had a lot, but
Yeah, well,
No.
Taylor,
You're talking-
do you want to show off your EP or
I think I'm closer to your amount of time, Jacob, without
Yeah.
knowing the specific amount.
yeah? So we've all played a lot except for Mike, who I don't even think has watched a walkthrough.
He
I have
did.
to walk through.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm impressed. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mike, can you see my video?
I cannot see your video. Can you see my video?
I can. There you go.
Yay!
Sorry, listeners. This is not yet a video podcast, but hopefully in the future.
I'm not wearing pants.
I can attest to
Who
that. That
needs
was
them?
scary. I was thinking, again.
That's
What?
why
Yeah,
I'm so-
What are your
You
guys?
shouldn't think.
What are your guys' first experience with Skyrim? If we can start with Taylor, what do you remember
Okay.
when you first started playing?
Well, I actually came late to the party because I looked at Skyrim and I was like, that looks really bad. Specifically the melee combat. I
Mhm.
thought that was awful, and clunky, and
Yeah.
not satisfying in any
Really?
way. Yeah.
Just from looking at the game, or having played Elder Scroll games before?
I had played a previous Elder Scroll game for about a minute.
Yeah, you pretty much got the whole game. They're not
Yeah.
expensive at all.
But I eventually just wanted a waste of time, and it was on sale on Steam. And I thought I could probably kill stuff with a bow and arrow. And so I decided to be a thief that shot people with a bow and arrow. And it worked out pretty well-ish. I'd say.
Can I ask what race you played?
I was a wood elf because they were sneaky.
And they work well with bows. Okay, makes sense.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. Scott, what about you?
Well, Skyrim was the first Elder Scrolls game I played, and I actually just torrented it.
You mean it fell on your lap magically? Because
Sure, yeah.
Because
No, I-
piracy. No.
And
You bought it off the Pirate Bay.
He bought
there was
it off a
no-
guy named Bay.
yeah,
Who
and
had an eye
there was
patch.
no patches or anything, so I experienced the full.
The full splendor of that game.
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah. So your first moments with it, do you remember?
Yeah, I played Dark Elf, and I pretty much just was an all-around character. Because I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just used everything.
Good way to introduce yourself, especially if for first in the franchise.
Except for blocking, fuck that. Nobody got time for blocking.
I have a great story about blocking, but I'll save it for later.
Blocking is broken.
To say the least.
Blocking's useless, to say the least.
Yeah.
Brando, what about you?
I'm kind of the same with Scott. It wasn't my first Elder Scroll game. Morrowind was my first one.
Mhm.
That game was clunky.
Did you play a lot of Morrowind?
Not really.
Mhm.
No, not too much.
I know
And
you got-
I kind of just played on a friend's account.
Ah.
So he was kind of like halfway through the game, and then I just screwed around and stole stuff from stores and got him into a bunch of trouble.
Why the fuck
But-
do I have $8,000 in bounty?
Exactly.
Well,
Brandon's just snickering in the corner.
Yeah,
I know you played
and,
Oblivion like a whole bunch.
I played a bit of Oblivion. Not that much actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I got it when it came out, and then I played a little bit of it, and then I kind of got bored and just sold it.
As you do
Kind
with
of the
most of your
story. Yeah, exactly. Not anymore.
Hmm.
Just then.
Yeah.
And then I got Skyrim, and I couldn't put it down. I started as a dark elf, just like Scott. And from there, it was just bows and long swords. And I don't know, I kind of played the game like going through all the quests, like the main quests, and after I did all the main quests, I just destroyed all the side quests. The story was great.
Hmm. Yeah, we'll get into the story later, but yeah, from what I could tell, it was pretty cool. Mike, seeing as you never played, when you first saw the game, like when it was first coming out, or when you first learned of its existence, what did you think of it?
I did not care for it, if I'm honest. I saw a couple trailers and I was like, this game is not for me.
Blasphemy!
I'm not really into MMOs, really.
Yeah.
And
It's not an MMO.
Not
It's
in the
not a-
slightest.
what is it?
Yeah,
It's an RPG.
yeah, it's single
it's an
player.
RPG.
It's all
Well,
single player. There's no multiplayer in the game.
Oh,
Yeah. That game would be pretty cool if it was multiplayer.
I guess I'm gonna go play that now, huh?
oh, well.
Well,
Maybe.
shit. All these notes of mine are
Perhaps I didn't
useless.
watch enough walkthroughs, guys.
Mike was watching WoW and didn't even realize.
maybe he was watching the Elder Scrolls Online.
Maybe,
I'm just
actually.
gonna sit here and drink.
Amen to that.
Yeah, I had no idea what the fuck's going on here.
There is an MMO that came out in the franchise recently. You might have been watching that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the Elder Scrolls Online.
I don't know what I was watching.
Yeah, also played that. Not a huge fan of that game. I got into the beta like super early,
Yeah.
and I don't know. Like maybe it was because there wasn't enough players or anyone that I knew that was playing, but I just could not get into that game.
If we're gonna go on a tangent on the MMO, which we're not really gonna talk about in the rest of the podcast, but from what I understand, like people were super excited about that game, and it started off really well, but then like they during the beta they kept making changes that everyone's just like, no, this is gonna be dumb, like you're making a mistake, and then they just kept going with those changes, released it, and now it's more or less dead.
More or less.
Yeah. No one I know has really kept up with it since. Um, myself, my experience with this series, um, basically I saw the trailers, loved it. It looked super awesome. I had played both Morrowind a fair bit, and I didn't play Oblivion, although I was surrounded by people who played Oblivion quite a bit. And then I got into Skyrim, and I started as a Nord. My plan was to play as a battle mage, basically spells and swords, but it devolved into just sword and shield, with lots of healing. Um,
So paladin.
basically, yeah.
Actually, I used a lot of healing as well.
Um, so that was fun. Yeah. But I did have a couple problems with the game.
A couple.
A couple. I went into this
I
expecting.
think we can do a whole podcast on problems of the game.
I was expecting to go into this and kind of play the devil's advocate, just because I figured everyone would just love the game. But from what I've been hearing, all three of you have. Well, you still like it. You definitely did have some criticisms on it.
Yes, one could say.
I think one thing we can start off with first is when the game first came out, it was buggy as all get out.
You're speaking like it's not buggy anymore.
Yeah, it's still really buggy.
But compared to mammoths just flying
That's
in the
true.
sky
Yeah,
and
they fixed all
landing
that stuff. Yeah.
in front of
Yeah,
you.
dragon mammoths, they were terrible.
I distinctly remember at one point, very early in the game, you get a mission to collect a mammoth tusk.
Yeah.
And I literally walked out of Whiterun, the first city where you get that mission, and
Yeah.
took a step, and then a mammoth literally fell out of the sky and landed in front of me. So I got a mammoth tusk and completed the quest in literally like 18 steps.
Yeah, I've had this. I've had the same thing happen when I was playing my unpatched version.
So yeah, but Bethesda and bugs are definitely somewhat synonymous. At least when the
Shots
game first
fired.
comes out, they definitely sort it out later on.
They're to be on the same topic, because they did release DLC for the game, and that's shit. Like it's shit. They obviously didn't check on it at all, because it's just as bad as like the game unpatched. Like the DLC island and stuff, like, and all the stuff that has to do with the DLC, it's all buggy.
Really?
Yeah.
I I noticed when I was playing like later on as they patched it, I found it pretty good.
No, the normal game, yeah, sure, but like the DLC,
Oh, it was
awful.
buggy when it came out.
yeah, and it's still buggy. Like it's still buggy.
I never got the any of the DLC
It's
for the
fun.
game.
The DLC is a lot of fun.
But
Actually, I just got the whole big package of the DLC. Well, not recently, maybe like half a year ago. Whenever they released it, I got it on
Yeah.
sale on Steam, and that's when I kind of reintroduced myself to Skyrim.
Yeah.
And yeah, I finally went through all the DLC, and I gotta say, the DLC is great.
that's good to know. Maybe I'll check it out.
I highly suggest it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
would.
like-
It does add a lot to the game, and it makes it kind of more enjoyable. But you get a lot of cool stuff too, like a lot of cool like weapons and armor and stuff from the DLC.
I did wanna stay on topic with the errors and the glitches and moving on to other
Okay.
criticisms, but I think this leads us perfectly onto mods, because everything you guys are talking about with the expansions and stuff like that, I basically got that through modding the game. Um, I got extra weapons. I got a different UI because the UI in the base game awful. Great for consoles, but me as a PC player, it was kind of janky. And I suffered through it until a couple months ago when I started getting mods, and I just got all the really cool ones right away. Just simpler ones like a UI fix, extra armors, extra weapons, and like a follower upgrade, so that you can actually control them a little better.
Yeah, they were dumb
Ugh.
tricks.
Yeah. They don't
Um,
lock you in a room forever.
Or have them just fall down a mountain and die.
Well,
yeah, or not be naked the entire time. Like that was a great feature.
Wait, you put clothes on them?
You can take them off with the mod, as I learned. That was weird. Um,
You
That's
can do
not
any
kinda gay.
mods.
yeah, Mike's getting more
Throw
and
my
more
2
interested.
cents out there.
But
Hey.
I didn't get too many mods. I got like ambient sound mods to help that out, and I can't think of any other major mods. I think I got better water texture mod. And that's about it. I didn't mod too much.
yeah, I was surprised by how stable they were. Really, like again, I didn't get anything crazy. Like I didn't turn all the mud crabs into Spider-Man, but like all the weapons seemed to work, even if some of the animations weren't correct. Like my dude was still wielding a bow staff like an axe, but other than that, like the model worked. Yeah, I was really quite impressed with the quality of some of the mods for that game.
Well, you just need to have a dedicated community, and
Yeah,
Skyrim's community is very dedicated.
yeah,
Oh yeah, the modding community is ridiculous for Skyrim. Like just the graphic mods that they came out with were unreal.
they're ridiculous. I mean, with some of them you can't play because it's basically meant for screenshots. But yeah, they're quite impressive. And I really think that's one of the real strengths of that game. I mean, as much as Bethesda kind of releases it really no well releases it as a buggy mess, they definitely improve it and then also add expansions. You can get like they really rely on their community, and the community delivers. That's
Well,
definitely a plus for
when you have a
Skyrim.
game that big, it's hard to create something not buggy like that. Like Skyrim is probably one of the biggest games out there right now.
Yeah,
Still.
it's just like the
Like
Fallout
just
series, right?
yeah, like the size and depth of the whole story and the map and all your surroundings
Yeah.
is huge.
I mean, both Fallout and Skyrim, most of them were made by Bethesda. I don't want to say most of them, but most of the big ones, at least for Fallout, were made by Bethesda, and they all kind of released the same way. They were pretty buggy when they came out. Um, whereas games like, actually, the first thing that comes to mind is Just Cause, which is another huge game, and that was really buggy too. So I guess I don't really have anything to stand on. But I guess we can start moving on from that to maybe combat, because I know I have quite a bit to say about the combat in Skyrim. It's shit, or
Hear,
at least
hear.
it's basic. It's very basic.
yeah, it is.
Any dissenting opinions on that?
No, I agree. It's very basic, but that's I don't know. Like I feel like combat isn't like it might sound silly, but I feel like it's not a very big part of the game. Um, you know what I mean? Like I feel like they didn't really care too much about how complex their combat system was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to agree. They didn't like they haven't improved it really since Morrowind. I mean, if you put all your perks into like the swords, like into one of the things, you can get a total of maybe like 5 or a little bit more moves, and to execute them is really janky. Like back left, and then you get like this one move, and they're all kind of pointless. They don't really do much anyways, even if you can't execute them. And it kind of makes me wish that because the game is like there is such a focus on combat, even if it's not very in-depth focus. It's kind of a shame that it's not something like The Witcher or any other fantasy game where there's just like so many different moves you can pull off and different effects they give. It's really a shame.
Yeah, what you're saying is it could have been so much more.
Yeah, which definitely is something you can say about the whole game. Really, my basic opinion of Skyrim, if you any of you guys or our listeners listen to Total Biscuit on a regular basis, you'll recognize what I'm about to say, in that it's like a pool the size of an ocean, but the depth of a swimming pool. Like it's there's no, you can do so much in the game. You can be a tailor. You can be a, shut up, Taylor. You can be a blacksmith, a warrior, an archer. You can role play as a Khajiit blacksmith who's married to a merchant. You can do that. You can cut logs, for Christ's sake. But there's no depth to any of that. It's all very, very basic. For crafting, it's just get a number of X and Y, and you can make this item. Then you can enchant it, but then all the spells they're very simple. Like minus 10 stamina on hit, or plus stamina when worn, and it's just kind of simple.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could do multiple enchantments too.
Yeah. You can get a perk where you get to put 2 on, and that's cool. But still, all this, like, I want to compare it to something like WoW or Diablo, where like the crafting systems in those games are very in depth, and you can get really ridiculous effects on there. Like if I stab a guy with this dagger, there's a 10% chance he turns into a pig. Like really crazy effects. I guess
That's
the Wabbajack.
mostly
Yeah.
Diablo stuff.
Yeah, really, but just like the effects in the game are fairly
Okay,
limited.
so I do have to kind of interrupt because I agree that you can't enchant things, but you do get items that have complex enchantments on them, like quest weapons and armor.
Yes, some of the quest items are pretty cool, but they're also very unique, which is what makes them cool.
Yeah. But I mean, like it's kind of like the same thing. Like you can get some really cool, like when fighting undead, like they combust into, like it combusts or something. Like I don't know, stuff like that. Like there are weapons like that.
Yeah, but like I was just speaking like to some of the systems in the game, like combat. There you can do it, and it's fun, but it's shallow. You can craft, but it's fairly shallow. You can cut logs, but it's
yeah.
cutsy.
Well, I mean, I don't know how in depth cutting logs can be, but
Listen, sometimes, man, just gotta cut those logs. I don't want that to be a euphemism.
I just feel like they wanted to put a whole bunch of different things in the game, and that way they had to make them simple. Whereas if they had not as many things in the game, they could have made it more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it would have been too much if they actually went into in depth with every kind of system that they put into the game.
Yeah, I guess. Like I can definitely understand. Like I definitely had fun with the game. I mean, I played it for 120 hours.
Yeah.
But it's just that like afterwards, after playing it, I kind of feel like, well, there wasn't much to that. Like I don't feel
That's true.
particularly
Yeah.
satisfied.
I know what
with
you
it.
mean.
But when I'm
just
doing
trying
it,
to
it's fun.
I'm trying to argue on behalf of the game. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because no one seems to be doing that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah. Do you guys have anything you want to mention?
One system that I really would like to be more fleshed out, and I was like so sad that it wasn't, is just cooking. Just so simple.
Oh my
just
god.
Cooking.
Not only is cooking simple, it's useless. I mean, you have to eat
I
like
know.
45 roast beefs to restore the health of one potion, which is kind of a shame.
And you can collect all this food, and it's like you can keep it in a barrel, or you just get rid of it
Yeah.
because it's useless.
Yeah, it's really a shame. Like again, they put all this stuff in just so like people, if they want to use it, they can. But there again, there's no depth to it. Although, however, modding community to the rescue again. There is a mod you can get where um, you have to eat. Like your stamina decreases steadily if you don't eat regularly, and it also increases your health by a lot more, which made it like food suddenly incredibly useful. Um, and
Or like incredibly punishing.
yeah, that is the one thing. Like even in the mod, like if you want, it'll just increase food and crafting options, and won't decrease your stamina if you don't eat. And that could definitely have been an option in Skyrim that they could have just put in. Like, hey, do you want to play like on hardcore mode? Well, you have to eat every couple hours, or you'll just die.
You have to sleep. You have to drink.
And you have to sleep and you have to drink.
You have to take
That's
care of
fair,
your wife.
yeah. That's fair. That would have been
Because
interesting.
I don't know if Bethesda did Fallout New Vegas, but there was a hardcore mode in that, which was much more punishing, and it was just an option.
Yeah.
Anything else anyone wants to bitch about the game or praise the game for? Because I know I have plenty of that.
Oh well, if we, the one thing that kind of has turned me off, like I actually haven't played in like since the last podcast.
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
you were for our listeners who don't know, Scott was actually playing Skyrim during our last podcast, which was kind of
Yeah.
ironic.
Um, but so I was playing. So like one of the DLCs is you can actually build houses from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and it is also very simple. Like it's not as complicated as you might hope it is either. It's kind of just like the same thing as like crafting a weapon. You just need this many materials and you can build the house. But so the houses are really buggy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've gotten to the point where like I have a lot of like cool armor and stuff, and you know how there's those armor mannequins that you can display your sets of armor on and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard there was lots of like different like plaques and stuff just to display your stuff, which is cool. Like you go through this game and you collect all these cool, interesting items, like the sword of this one god and like the armor of another. And you
Right.
kind of want to display it, although it kind
Yeah,
of sucks that no one would really see it.
So I had discovered that when you put an armor set on one of these in these houses only, because they patched the ones in the regular houses, but in these DLC houses, when you put an armor set on, when you put armor set clothes, whatever it is, when you put something on these mannequins, and then you try to take it off and put something else on, it'll every time you leave the house and come back, the old armor or whatever will be spawned back on the mannequin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And your new armor, like the armor you replaced it with, will still be there, but it'll be hidden like in the inventory of the mannequin.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
Buggy
was
game.
really getting on my nerves because like I was trying to just like like I was trying to display all the armors that were like related to each city, right?
Hmm.
And so I had to move one, and then like I have like 4 sets of like Dark Brotherhood armor now. It's ridiculous. Like I'm so mad. It sounds like a really bad thing to complain about because it's like, oh, you have like extra cool armor that you can like give to your companions or sell, and it's just like I have like 300,000 gold that I can't do anything with. So, like it's just
First
like,
world problems.
oh fuck, man, I gotta put.
What do you mean you can't do anything with? You can buy so much food and
First Nord
useless
problems.
stuff with it.
I don't need to though. Like,
But
mean,
you might go hungry if
that's
you
a
don't eat
that's a
food.
common problem with RPGs.
Oh, wait.
Especially open-ended ones. Like you just get so much money by the end that you're like, I don't know. I can't hold all this money.
right, yeah, and it's pretty. Like I literally was just going around buying all the houses because I was just like, what do I do?
Well, yeah, those are the biggest like money sinks in the game, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I just like I bought like, everyone. Now also but on another like kind of like self achievement kind of thing. I don't know if all you guys know about the no stone unturned side quest where you have to find all 24 stones of Baron Zaya.
Yes.
I started that quest. I looked it up. That's just insane. again,
it.
a mod. There's a mod that will show you all the locations of the stones. But god damn,
I found 19 of them without any kind of guide.
nice. There's like 24 or something.
24, yeah. So like, I had to use a guide for 5 of them because they were just in places that you wouldn't you wouldn't go to unless you went there for the stone.
Yeah.
Like in Jarl's like Jarl's quarters and stuff. Like,
I mean, to their credit, Bethesda definitely put in a lot of quests, or just not even quests, but small things in the game that they hoped, because of the internet, with so many people just like, oh yeah, to complete this quest, just do this, 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 and this. But they definitely added things in the game that were very hard to find, and some things that were just like inexplicable, like the headless ghost. If you go into the farther reaches, like into way up north, along a certain road at a certain time, it's basically random. Sometimes a ghost riding a horse with no head just kind of trucks along, and I believe there's like some lore in the game saying who it could be, but they never explain it, and there's no quest relating to him.
Actually, that's an Easter egg, and I'm pretty sure if you follow him to the end of his path, there's a chest or something.
Oh yeah? I followed him for quite a while, and then he just disappeared. Maybe I didn't find the chest though.
Maybe, I don't know. Like that's just what I heard. Like I've never actually done it or anything, so that could be false as well. But
yeah, there's so much in the game that's just like
I don't know.
kind of Easter eggs that are hard to find.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, it's such a big world, right? Like, what are the chances?
One thing I definitely wanted to praise the game on was the story.
Yeah.
I actually never beat it. But the main quest line was fairly interesting, I have to admit, from what I played.
Yeah.
Did everyone beat it besides me, or?
Yeah, I've beaten it.
Nope.
Oh yes.
I did not
Mike.
beat it.
I beat it last.
Yeah. Okay.
Like in this file, I mean, I've beaten it first. My first playthrough, I immediately did the main quest. Yeah.
Yeah. The characters are pretty cool. Apparently, the final battle's interesting, just from a story perspective.
Yeah, it is. It's.
I mean, you can spoil it if you want. It would be a spoiler for me.
I'm not gonna spoil it. What I'm gonna say about it is, unless you do all the main quests right away, if you level yourself at all, on other quest lines, and like, I would say if you pad yourself to like mid-30s and then you finish up the main quest, the final battle is so easy.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
I honestly, I was level 50 something when I went and did it this time. I killed the boss in like three hits.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of disappointing, but because I kind of wish they would, like, they do have a leveling system to the AI, but I wish it was.
Yeah, from what I understand in the game, it kind of it scales, like it's a certain level until you're level 30. Then there's maybe not 30, but like 15, somewhere around there. Then it spikes up. So like wolves that you were killing at level 14 suddenly are giving you a challenge at level 15. And then at that point, it's just kind of like flat. There's no more scaling. So as you get stronger and stronger, everything else gets weaker and weaker. Well, not weaker, but
the one thing I'm going to disagree with you about that is it's the enemies not get stronger, but the weapons they have are. Like, especially Draugr. No matter, like, it keeps going, like the Draugr Deathlords, if you get to like when you were like level 40, they'll have like ebony weapons instead of ancient Nord weapons.
I definitely didn't notice that.
I remember on one of my first times cave delving, I ran into this Draugr Deathlord. I was like level 20 something. I ran into this Draugr Deathlord with like ebony bow and ebony arrow, and it was a one hit me every single time I walked down into the cave.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. I was just like, oh hi, you're dead. Okay. This is disappointing. Yeah. And then like
not venturing into this cave.
Right, yeah, and like, you know, I'm like me being stubborn, right? I'm trying to like poke my head around the corner really slow, and then he like shouts at me, knocks me over, and hits me with an arrow, and I die. It's like, oh my god, I'm so done with this game right now.
Yeah, it's always entertaining when you die in that game because it's usually just like, especially if it's a giant unpatched. I don't, Mike. I don't know
Oh
if you saw
yeah,
any videos of that,
This
but there's
sense
giants
of
in the game
moon.
where if they hit you and before they patched the game, you literally went like to the moon. Your guy just flew and flew and flew, and it kind of goes into like what's that game where you steal cars? Grand Theft Auto. It kind of goes
Yeah.
into third person when you die. And you just see your body fly up and up and up, and then come
Yeah.
crashing down. It's fun.
It's really entertaining. I loved it. Like, actually, it's when I was one of my last experience with riding a dragon, which is a thing in the DLC, is I was fighting two giants, and the giants killed the dragon I was on, and like I did like the topple animation. It was really funny.
Off of a dragon.
Yeah. Like I didn't die, but the dragon did. So like I just toppled over. Because I couldn't ride it anymore because it was dead. You know?
Yeah,
It was
I
funny.
Guess,
Yeah,
I guess
like
that
I
makes
just
that.
sense.
fell
Yeah.
off of it, and like these giants are like beating on me while I'm on the ground. I'm like, oh please.
Yeah, the giants that are in that game are ridiculous.
They're hilarious. I love it.
Another thing I want to bring up was another criticism was kind of player agency in the game, being like so. Even a common complaint is like, yeah, I killed the fucking end dragon, like the world's dragon, and people are still yelling at me to stop bumping into them and like go help their kid out of a mine instead of bowing to me and giving me the
Yeah,
castle.
I don't have time to help your kid get out of a mine. I got dragons
or
to slay.
or deliver a letter or a ring for you. Come on.
Yeah, why am I gonna go find your book?
Well,
Because you're a
Go
nice
find it
guy.
yourself.
in
I'm
in
not.
in defense to those quests, you can say no.
Yeah, but I just mean like
But who says no to
it
an
kind of
adventure?
ruins the sense of immersion when you're like basically the strongest person in the world and people come up to you with petty problems or accuse you like guards come up to you like, hey, you didn't you killed a chicken, give us $15. Buddy, do you see the kind of armor I'm wearing? I'm pretty sure I have the skulls of one of your ancestors sewn into my jerkin.
I understand, but that's a lot of unnecessary coding for dialogue.
Definitely.
They already have so much shit in that game. Why not add to it?
Because then that would be more bugs to
Just
work
like
out.
just a couple more things.
Exactly.
Like no one seems to notice when you do anything in that game, unless it's
Yes, you
quest
do.
unless
It's not
it's
true at
quest
all.
specific.
You walk around and like the guards are like, "I heard what you did. You know, like you went to Sovngarde or like you know for the companions quest when Codlac Whitemane dies, he's just like, well, Codlac's in a better place now, and they absolutely do. Or like it's just like I know who you are. Hail Sithis if you're part of the Dark Brotherhood.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
they absolutely do.
I
Or,
guess
like, if you're
I
part of
played.
the Thieves Guild, it's like don't go picking any locks around here, sneak thief.
So Jacob turns out to be 100% wrong in this, essentially.
Well,
Wrong.
I feel like
What else is new?
I played a lot of
Just
the
kidding.
smaller side quests. I didn't join the Thieves Guild or the Assassins or any of those. I basically just played the smaller ones, so maybe
Yeah,
that's why I didn't
and they
experience it.
They wouldn't recognize anything you've done. Yeah.
And I didn't beat the main quest either. So I guess like with the bigger quests they would do stuff. Okay, maybe I'm
Yeah,
wrong there.
all main like storylines they acknowledge when you've like progressed in them so far, or even if you've just joined them.
That's cool. The one thing I kind of got far in was the Civil War plot line,
Oh yeah,
but so little changed that that's basically what I'm basing
yeah.
it
No,
off of. Like
that doesn't. The only thing that changes is like until the very end. Like that's the only thing that changes. The only thing that changes is if you join the Stormcloaks at the very end when you go to the Blue Palace and you can talk to all the Jarls and they're all pissed off at you because you kicked them out of their cities. They're like, don't talk to me. It makes me sick.
they're all pissy. They can't do anything because you're the ruler of the universe.
Right. Yeah.
One thing I definitely want to bring up, going back to the story thing, So many of the smaller side quests have compelling stories. Like I was quite impressed with the storytelling in this game. Some of it's really dumb, but lots of
Yeah.
other parts are really really cool. Like there's even books that you can read and they're actually interesting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the lore in the game, it's pretty in depth too.
Yeah.
Like there's some useless stuff in this game, like the books and stuff like that, but not useless at the same time.
Yeah, like it's there if you want it. Like
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
really want to get into this world, there is stuff for it lore wise, if not activity wise.
There's also Wikipedia.
What?
I went on that for a while. That was a deep trip.
All on story. What was everyone's like favorite guild or or like anything like part of the game basically?
Like favorite quest line
Can
maybe?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite guild was the Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I mean, besides that, it probably would have been. Oh, what's the? God damn it, stupid brain. We were
got
just
it.
talking about it.
I know what it
Companion?
is.
The Thieves
Not
Guild?
the companions.
Uh,
Yes, the Thieves Guild.
Or like the Nightingales or
No, Thieves Guild.
well the
They're good,
Nightingales
too.
is like what you get to after the Thieves Guild, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You get that really cool armor. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I heard about the Nightingale armor.
Didn't do it. Huh, scoff.
Yeah, I never, like I said, I started, like I barely started the Mages Guild, but I avoided the SS or the Black Hand, and I avoided the Thieves Guild, and I didn't do companions either.
I didn't like the mages stuff. Just
I
maybe because it like I didn't do a lot of magic in the game, other than
Yeah,
heal and a
that's
fireball here and there. But I wasn't too big on that.
that's true. I
I like
I,
the
I
up
only
close
did
combat.
the the college quest line because just to complete it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and actually the main reason I even started the college quest line is because I was in another side quest that I couldn't progress in because I needed a key to unlock a ruin that you only get from starting the mage skill.
I believe that's why I started that as well.
Yeah, so but yeah, like I don't use a lot of magic, but like this playthrough I played through like each quest line how you're supposed to, like how it was meant to.
hmm
Like for the Mages Guild I only used magic, and for the Thieves Guild, I was sneaky and I snuck past people and
Well, yeah, it's fun to. That's really what this game is for. It's for role playing. I mean,
companions. I threw some heavy armor on, grabbed the big sword, and ran at things. And...
Yes.
Yeah, like,
cool because I got to level up all my different skills like that too.
yeah, exactly. Like you really can role play and play it how you want to. I mean, you were asking what our favorite quest lines were in the game, and I honestly can't really remember any specific quest line that I liked. I'm sure there was some that I really liked,
Well,
but
I
it's
meant more so like my favorite. Well, my favorite quest line now is actually the Dragonborn quest, which is the DLC. But I like anything that has to do with the Daedric princes, like the Daedric. The Daedric princes.
yeah.
Like
Some of the Daedric lore.
I
It's
loved
very
all of
cool.
them. They're all good. Like some of them are kind of boring, but like
The one with the Dawnbringer I didn't find particularly interesting.
no, Dawnbreaker, no, the Break of Dawn, that wasn't a very interesting one. Azura's Star wasn't a very interesting one. Boethia's Calling wasn't a very interesting one. But I like the Mace of Moloch Ball.
That one was weird. I
Yeah,
had to reload my game afterwards. I'm just like, I can't do this to this poor man.
no,
As
I
annoying
did.
as he
I
is.
absolutely did.
Mike, so if you don't know, there's basically like gods in this game, and they have really ridiculous quest lines, and one of them involves luring a really annoying priest into a cage and then killing him repeatedly, and then him getting brought back to life so you can kill him more. It's real
Well,
weird.
it's to make him bow down to Moloch Ball.
So yeah, to succumb to him because he's like he's from a priest of a different god, right?
Yeah, Boethia.
Yeah. So it's like
touch little boys.
Yeah, but like the Dragonborn quest has a lot to do with Hermaeus Mora. You know, the person you get the Ogma Infinium, that skill book that levels up all your skills and
read
in
about
one
it,
thing.
didn't do it.
Yeah, but the Dragonborn quest line has a lot to do with him, and it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, those are definitely some of the more interesting ones. Definitely the most like crazy. But what I wanted to say earlier was the fact that when with the quests, I definitely had some memorable quests, but they were a long time ago. But what I do remember to this day is just when I went off on my own and discovered crazy things. Like, I just remember going on my horse and going north and walking the whole way there and meeting like bandit camps along the way and like an orc village that I helped save from something.
Or random necromancers that want to just rip your face off.
I was the necromancer.
Fair enough.
All those guys that attacked me were just my apostles that went astray. But I remember just eventually going basically all the way north until it's like just ice everywhere and like it's the last road, and that's where I found the horsemen, and I just kept going until I got to like these ice sheets, and then it breaks up into sea.
Yeah.
So then I just went along the coastline, and then there was like this castle out to sea a little farther. So I swam there, pretended to have to warm myself up with a fire spell, and then adventured inside there. There was like pirates there with all this cool stuff, and like I'm sure it was part of some quest line, but I didn't start it. So I was just like in there slaughtering all these people for all these pirates, and just I walked out of there thinking like, I started in Whiterun. How the fuck did I get here?
Actually, a lot of the stuff that you do and that you come across isn't part of quest lines at all. Like I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about, and I don't remember that being a quest line. Like I know the area you were in, and there's a cave around there actually.
I think I went in there later.
Yeah, it's like an ice cave, and there's a quest line to that, but I don't recall what it is.
Maybe I don't. Did it involve like some guy got lost in there and like he killed his siblings for some artifact? I mean, I guess that describes a lot of the games, a lot of the quests, but
yeah, it does. That's the premise of the game.
Yeah, so that is definitely why I kept playing that game. I mean, we were saying the fact that yeah, the game's shallow, but there is so much to do and so much to explore that we all played for 100 hours or more. Like it's just there's so much stuff in that game to do and to see that really, Mike, you should play it. As much as we've shit on it, it's just so interesting. I mean, you get to fight dragons, and if you get a certain DLC, apparently you get to ride dragons. And you get to shout at people so hard that they fall off cliffs.
Oh, yeah. Unrelenting Force is like the best part of the game.
Yeah.
It's like, you're pissing me off, man. I'm going to fire you off the mountain.
Yeah. There's a spell you get really early on they're called shouts. So you yell, and the force of your yell throws people like far away. Pretty ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Crazy. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Or
well, this entire podcast was just so Mike will play Skyrim.
Yeah, really. This like not just this podcast, us starting the podcast was specifically so that he would play Skyrim.
Yeah. It was all a ruse.
True story.
And I guess we just have to continue.
And I started off thinking it was a fucking
really, I guess so. I mean, we're already here, so might as well do it again next week. Speaking of which, is there anything you guys want to add before we start closing out the podcast?
No, I mean, covered it.
So maybe I'll ask you guys, what do you take away from having played Skyrim? Because I think we're all really done with playing Skyrim. I mean, it came out, what, 3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, it's a while. I think we've all said we've kind of stopped playing it. but what do you take away from that whole experience? If we can
Well,
start with
I wouldn't say I'm done, but yeah, it's a good time killer.
definitely.
A healthy waste of time.
Yeah, because there you'll find a random cave that you never came across and do a whole little quest line. Taylor, anything in particular that you remember or that you'll take
My
away?
major takeaway is no matter how hard I tried, no matter what I did, the game would never allow me to actually fully become a bard.
I'm sure there's a mod for that.
That guards would call me a bard, and it's like, how would you even know? I'm an elf that wears a mask. I don't even sing.
Right, yeah.
They'll replace an axe with a guitar.
Well, there's a loot in the game. You just can't equip it.
Yeah,
you
I
can
know.
Just have
I
it.
picked that up. I'm like, can I play this? And then when I couldn't, I was real sad. I think that's when I stopped playing the game, actually.
I just throw it at other bards.
Play it for me! Dance, puppet.
Teach me your ways.
Again, in that mod, you can make them dance as well. Brandon, anything you're taking away from the game?
Honestly, it's so hard to describe. Just Skyrim was like the first game that I played like literally over 100 hours in. I mean, next to Halo and Diablo. Yeah, I don't know. It was just great. It sucked me in and held me there forever.
That's oddly
Giggity.
sexual. So from that, I think we can move on to Mike. Having heard us talk about Skyrim for about an hour, what do you think you would pick it up?
It depends on if I had a lot of time to kill.
About 100 hours or so.
Damn, that's a lot of time to commit.
It's not a commitment, more so. Like you just like you log on.
No, it's not a commitment. It's a lifestyle.
I mean, seriously, it's not an MMO.
Quite literally.
It's not an MMO where like, oh,
It's a
I
life
have
choice.
to I have to grind for this item so I can get ready for this raid on Tuesday. It's more like, oh, it's 8 o'clock. I have an hour. Let's boot up Skyrim. So then you go on a quest, and then about 4 hours later, it's like, oh, I should have gone to sleep, but I've killed a dragon. I'm now the head assassin of a guild, and I'm also married. That's kind of what you get from Skyrim.
That's pretty good for the first 4 hours.
Yeah,
Maybe
right?
maybe not the first 4 hours, but yeah, if you try.
I don't know,
It's
man.
really easy to get distracted in it.
It's a good game, is all I'm saying, even if it has quite a few faults.
Flaws. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll have to give it a shot sometime, but I can't.
It's
I
usually
can't
on
promise
sale
anything.
on Steam, so. But yeah,
Yay for
whatever.
sales!
There's other
Steam
games.
just can't get rid of it fast enough.
So many. They have so many copies of it. It's like they have infinite copies. Anyways, guys, I think that kind of wraps us up for the Skyrim podcast. Do you have anything last to say? You might say the last words, Taylor.
Increase your FOV. It's necessary.
Oh my God, 85 all the way. Scott? Oh, sorry, Taylor.
What?
Do you have something else to say?
No, 90. Come on. Raise it even higher. That's not enough.
85 was fine for me, at least. Scotty?
I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm talked out.
Skyrim's great. Brando?
Yeah, for sure.
Brandon? He's playing Skyrim. Mike, anything you really took away from this conversation?
Mountain Dew is the best soda ever.
Relevant.
I know, right?
I was
Oh my
getting
God.
that feeling from this podcast too.
Okay, guys. Last thing is we have a couple things to pimp. We have one more thing to pimp than last time. So Mike, would you like to show off your thing? Not your penis. You can put that away.
I was just about to make a joke, too.
I know how your brain works.
Well, I am going to attempt to post a video this weekend. The first very episode of Morbid Murph.
Morbid
Video
Murph.
games. Video games like horror style, fear style, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to limit myself to that. I might branch out eventually, but I'm going to start out that way. The first episode is going to be a couple zombie games. I won't specify which.
Multiple
That's
zombie
a
games.
secret. Wink, wink.
My God.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Zombies.
I know you're also thinking of doing movies and stuff too, right? Maybe.
Yeah, eventually when I get the hang of it. But I think in the first, I don't know, couple episodes, I'll just stick to games, and then
Games are awesome.
I'll branch out. Yeah. I'll probably reference a couple movies.
Definitely.
It's unavoidable.
Awesome. Brandon, Scott, anything from you guys? Any Twitters or something?
No,
Any
not really.
particular bottled water brands you want to show off?
Gray Fox.
Great. Okay. Taylor.
I think Brandon's still chasing a butterfly.
I honestly don't know where Brandon is. Like yeah.
He said he had to go.
Oh, that was him. Okay.
I would like to pimp out my Blue Line notebook. It is a fantastic little notebook for keeping all of your notes.
Do I have
And
the same notebook as you?
It is indispensable in keeping notes for a podcast that you do. So if you're ever doing a podcast and you need to keep notes, I recommend the Blue Line Notebook series. Any of them. They're fantastic little things.
Great. In opposition to your pimp, I'm going to pimp Hilroy 200 graphs pages. It is the premium podcast note-keeping device. I use it every time we do a podcast, all two of them. And really, it's better than any blue whatever that another company might offer.
I feel we're fighting now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end the podcast right now. Taylor actually does have a YouTube channel called Views and Throughs. Go check it out. It's pretty cool. Nice. Anything I do will be on Press 8 to Podcast. But other than that, I think we're gonna end it with a have fun and good luck.